In the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA096.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
And we are back. Not live.
Yeah.
We're just here, Taylor.
We're just here. Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
How's your martini?
I haven't tried it yet, but I'm looking at it. It looks nice. You know what I do? I do gin and vermouth, and then I do lemon essential oil.
I like that. I do. I think I'm preferring a gin martini over a vodka martini.
Yeah, I always do, but I always do like a bunch of olives and dirty, but kind of been in the mood for like a very clear martini. These last
Nice.
couple martinis.
My favorite, I will admit, when I feel like a fancy boy, espresso martinis. They hit. I like them.
So in the video, the guy who put two espresso martinis into a Guinness pint, and it looks just like a Guinness.
Oh my God. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Cool. Hi everyone. Welcome to Doomed to Fail. We bring you history's most notorious disasters and failures, and I am Taylor, joined by Fars, and I have a winner to talk about today.
So it's a good
So,
story. It's a happy
yes,
story.
yes, I have a
All right.
cool science story, which is very hard for me to understand. So I'm super excited to talk to you about it because I am not a science person, and I don't think it's because I just never really I never had that like click moment with science. If that
I
makes sense.
wish I did. I was always in love with science. I was always a
Hmm.
science kid. Um, Especially biological, like science, like
Hmm.
biology. Like I was really into that because I love
Hmm.
animals,
Hmm.
and I realized like you know what I love is like when you look at like a dog and it looks into your face and you like see its eyes and it's like really happy and you're really happy. But
Hmm.
like I don't really care what its nucleus looks like. You know, like I
Hmm.
just never got
Hmm.
that far into it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, Florence just did her science fair, and like she got a like third place in the invention category, which is super cute. And like all of the kids that were there, it's cute. There's like the school is small, but there's definitely a core group of people who are in all the activities, you know, like the
Yeah.
people we see in soccer, we see them in music, and we saw them at chess club this morning, and like they're like the group who would all do the same thing, but all the kids were in the science fair. But I was like, my family and I laugh about it because like there's several examples of my family trying to help each other do a science fair project and getting like D's and like being like, oh my gosh. And then Kincaid is a scientist. So my brother did grow up to be his literal job title is scientist, which is super
What kind
cool.
of science?
Environmental science. He does things in Annapolis and Baltimore to stop like erosion of the shoreline. So his company will go in and they will like put in like walls and rock beds and stuff to help with that. And then they'll also evaluate places where they want to like build things. And they'll be like, okay, you can't build this because it's like swampland or marshland or because of the ecosystem or all those things. So he'll go in and like do those things.
Well,
Isn't that cool?
I just was somehow I went down this weird Instagram loop of like people who would try to connect rivers to oceans
Hmm.
to surf the water that flows from the river to the ocean. And there was like two or three in a row, and I was like, is this really a thing that people are doing? Because it sounds horrible.
Like digging a hole.
Yeah, like digging a hole and connecting a river to an ocean. And like
That's
after
really
like
weird.
30 minutes, it turns into a huge rush of water. I'm like, this seems really
Oh,
bad for the world.
yeah, it feels like you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, so Kincaid, if you're listening, you should
Get him.
watch the same Instagram reels that I do
Go get
and
him.
try to stop them.
One time we went canoeing and in the middle of the canoe path, you had to stop and get out of the canoe and carry it over like a freeway and then get back in the water. It was just really funny. I was like, what are we doing?
It'd be
Why is
fun.
this breakfast?
It's
Um,
it's kind of like a triathlete situation. So
exactly, exactly. I felt like a triathlete. So this was suggested by listener Kiara. So thank you, Kiara. It's also continues to be Women's History Month, and I'm going to talk about Dr. Valerie L. Thomas, who is a NASA scientist and an inventor.
sweet.
So I'm always like I just alluded to. I'm always like, so I always say this, and you and I always say this. Like when I was growing up, I was never like, oh, I could have a job in like political technology because that like wasn't an option. I never would have like thought of it, something I could like dream of being. But also like I just wasn't exposed to this stuff because like obviously people have been working computers for a long time. But I just like not my people. Does that make sense? Like there are some kids
You
who
missed me at
are
the you missed me in the So political tech. So my first campaign, Taylor, we ran our field operation off of spreadsheets. We literally printed spreadsheets and then went and walked the block, knocking
Hmm.
on doors and
Hmm.
logging responses in spreadsheets. So like we were very far removed from political technology being a thing. That was like 2006.
I know,
It's
but
not far. It's not that long ago.
I know, but I just think that like I never considered like I could have a job like in computers, you know? Like I just didn't know this
Yeah,
was gonna happen.
that's fair.
And so but I just like also think maybe I just was not curious enough and we didn't have a computer growing up and like just like wasn't a thing. It wasn't like in my people's radar to like
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about
of
it.
course. Yeah.
Um but Valerie was able to learn about computers very young and which is really cool because she was a black woman in the 1960s when she joined NASA. Um, she is still alive, by the way. I'll talk about what she does now, but she's still alive. So Valerie L. Thomas was born on February 8th, 1943 in Baltimore. And when she was 8, like the lore is that she read a book called The Boy's First Book on Electronics. And that sparked her fascination with electronics. And it's just funny that like they made that book for boys and you can get it on thrift books for about $100 now. It's like a book on the thing in the
Fun.
West. Um, so it also reminds me of like why you need things like girls in STEM and girls who code because a lot of this stuff was marketed toward boys because girls were getting marketed the homemaker stuff, you know? So trying to like fill that gap. But she saw it and she was like, I'm not a boy, but I don't care. I'm interested in this and went with it, which is really cool. And her family encouraged her, which is also very cool. Um, she did great in school,
There's
obviously.
something to punctuate there, which is like if you I don't think it's like I think it's like is I think it's like a character trait, but like I think like if you're naturally told over and over again that this isn't for you and you can't do it, then you're
Correct.
probably naturally going to divert away from that thing.
Yeah. But she didn't. She
Like
saw this
nobody,
book
no,
and
you
she was like, I'm
know
just
what?
doing the
Like
thing.
my family was like the opposite of being like super into sports and wanting to like us be involved in sports,
Hmm.
and so I sucked at sports.
Right.
And I probably would have sucked at it because like genetically Iranians aren't known for being great sportsmen. Like I don't think there's
Whatever.
any famous sportsmen who are Iranian. But if they'd told me you're gonna be the next great NFL player, I don't know. Maybe that would have happened for me.
Yeah. If they would have
This
like,
is all about me just like trying to
I'm so sorry.
relive my story. Anyways.
No. But yeah, exactly. So like if you're not encouraged to do something, it makes sense that you would like fall off doing that thing, even if you showed natural interest in it in the beginning. But props to Valerie's family, she was encouraged to do this. She went to Morgan State University, which is an HBCU in Baltimore. She graduated in 1964 at the age of 21, and right away she got a job at NASA. She developed computer data systems to support satellites. And like, what does that mean? I don't know. Like, what is a computer
Computer
data system to
data.
support satellites?
Yeah, I didn't even know there were satellites back then. All right.
Right, but that's my next point. The satellites are pretty new. So the first satellite was like 1956, and so this is, less than 10 years later. And they're very important because of the Cold War, obviously. So like satellites are becoming a big deal. And obviously today there's like approximately a billion of them
Right.
doing everything. So she starts working on satellites and it's like the very beginning. This is like computers on the sides of the room stuff that you like hear like legends of, like someone during the 60s is always like, someday you're gonna be able to carry a computer in your pocket. And everybody's like, there's no way, you know, and then here we are. So later in 1970, from 1970 to 1981, she led a group of people. She had about 50 people under her. It was called the Landsat Image Program. So that's also huge because she's only 28 and she's leading this program. That's huge. And what it is, and I'm going to try to explain
Yeah, I was
this.
gonna say I don't even know what it is.
Oh
So
no, I'm going to
I don't even
explain
know
it.
if it's impressive because I have
It's
no idea
impressive
what
to
it
manage that
is.
many people at all. But
Right.
so here's what Landsat is. It's super important and it's still around. Essentially, it is satellite imagery of the Earth that we take for granted. Like there were people during this time that were like, you don't need satellite images of Earth because you have airplanes. So like just let an airplane take a bunch of pictures of Earth. You don't need to zoom out to take it from a satellite. But they were like, yes, we definitely do. So I like asked ChatGPT to explain this to me like I'm a child. I'm like, how do I understand this? Like what this is. So the pictures that we have of the Earth, like Google Earth, and when you see like the Earth in like one big circle, that's not one picture. That's like a thousands of pictures all put together like a puzzle piece to be able to see that picture. The very first actual photo of the entire Earth was in 1972 by the astronauts on Apollo 17. It's called the Blue Marble. It's very pretty, but like you can't zoom in on it. You know what I mean? Like you can't enhance to like see someone in their garden, but you can do
So,
that now because of Landsat.
so hmm. All right, keep going, keep going.
Okay, so what it does is it takes pictures of land, water, mountains, and cities. It is the satellite that has a Landsat like camera on it is 438 miles above the Earth, and it's important because it is showing how the Earth is changing over time.
So,
So,
sorry, real quick.
yeah,
Are we talking about like a single camera on a single satellite?
yes.
Got it.
It's
Okay.
one satellite who this is their job. This is that satellite's job. And I will tell you, well, let me just skip to this part. There have been nine Landsat satellites. The first one launched in 1970, I think 1971. The last one, Landsat 9, is the one that's up right now. It launched in 2021. And then the next one is called Landsat Next, and that won't be launched until 2031 if we're still alive. Make
Is it
sense?
because they're gonna update the technology in
I
it
think so. Yeah,
or
because they've been,
okay.
I mean, in the 50 years, they launched nine of them, and then they're going to wait 10 more years to launch the next one. So they're probably just like working on something
Got it. Okay.
alien technology. They're trying to sneak in there.
Love it.
So here's what it does. It takes pictures of the Earth. That's important because they've been able to see when forests grow and shrink. So that's why they can catch people doing like illegal logging in places like the Amazon, and places where people are doing things they shouldn't be doing to places like that. It can also, it's been really, really important for checking if crops are healthy, like on a big scale. So you can like see all of the crops in a state. You can see all of the crops in America and like see what color they are and what color they are over time compared to other years of the past, so that you can tell how like the crops are going to be output. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
that makes sense.
Um, it can spot wildfires. It can also track where animals live and protect their homes. So like it can see like, oh, we have this big group of animals moving from this spot to another spot, and like warn people and protect them and protect their habitats. And it can also see how cities have grown in the past, 50 years. So it's really cool to be able to see like the pictures of the Earth 50 years ago and today and compare them, and then continue to do that kind of forever will be really helpful. Isn't that cool? It can
I
also tell
can't
when volcano.
I'm
Oh, go ahead.
thinking through the logistics here. Like, hold on. So this thing is taking these pictures.
hmm
So what is it like? Some algorithm is telling it this information is important for the wildlife people versus the farm people. Like,
Probably now, yes. I feel like before, like maybe before, like I don't know, algorithms were invented, but like I feel like maybe before it was like you had to code it and like put it to get back together when it got back to Earth somehow. And because it would
yeah,
like, but like yes, during that, like now it can just like take pictures of everything, and then it can also look at the pictures under different like different color lenses and like ways to look at it. So like it can pull out plants that are healthier by making them greener. It can like tell the health of the plants. It can also tell if a volcano is super hot underneath with like thermo imaging, so it can start to predict volcanic eruptions.
dude, humans are amazing.
Isn't that
I
cool?
can't believe I'm a part of this species.
I know. It can also tell if like water is dirty or clear based on the light reflections. So we can do all sorts of things to like warn us about things and study the way that the Earth is changing. Um, if you Google Valerie Thomas, you will see a wonderful picture of her from 1979. She has like this incredible afro, and like she just like looks so cool, but she's standing in front of a bunch of like reels of film, and that was like the early Landsat data tapes. Like the information would come back and they'd like record the data on tapes and then like configure it to make it into an image and all those things, but it was like a very physical process in like a computer the size of a room with like a card.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay. Now,
Process.
like you know,
You
when
know?
the thumbnail is just like her in with a chalkboard behind her,
Yeah,
but then you open it, and it's like I see the reels now.
yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So there are other satellites that take pictures of the Earth. There's one called Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellites. They take pictures of the Earth in real time to track weather. So if you see like a hurricane forming above the Earth. Like that's what that is. There's the moderate resolution imaging spectrometer. That one takes pictures of the planet every single day. And then there's one called Sentinel 2 from Europe Space Agency that takes really good pictures as well. So those together with Landsat and with NASA create the images that we see on like Google Earth. So the Google Earth picture, there's one called the blue marble, which is a super detailed picture of the Earth that you can like zoom in on. Like if you're ever like on Google Earth and you want to like start all the way out and zoom all the way in, like those are pictures that Landsat helped to make in addition with these other satellites that are up there now. But
I
isn't that
always
cool?
thought Google did that.
They just like procure it from other places too.
Got it.
Yeah. So now it's 1976. Landsat 1 is out, Landsat 2 went out, and Valerie is, learning. She does do more schooling that I will tell you about. But she goes to a seminar and she sees a thing where a concave mirror, which is like a spoon, sees a light bulb. Even after the light bulb has been unplugged, it sees that it's on for like a second. So there's like a second where the mirror is still kind of holding the image. And this is like, do you remember doing this at school where you like look at yourself in a spoon and you're upside down?
No.
So later, look at yourself in a spoon, you'll be upside down. And then there's also a part where if you're looking yourself in a spoon at the right way or like a perfect mirror that's like concave towards you, so it's like leaning out, where your image will be kind of 3D. It'll kind of feel like it's outside of the mirror. So like funhouse mirrors do this, where you'll like see something in a mirror and it almost looks like you can grab it.
Yeah. I know
So
funhouse mirrors.
yeah, so she
You're
saw
speaking my
something,
language there, not like doing science experiments in my room
but that
yet.
is a science experiment,
Yeah,
honestly.
that's fair.
So she sees this and she's like, that's cool, but what else could you do if you could like bring science into it and bring computers into it, not just the mirror itself? So I do want to bring up that holograms have been around for a very long time. And one thing that I saw that was fun is there's a thing called Pepper's Ghost made by a man named like John Pepper in the 1800s, and he would like use it to scare people in the theater. So it was like a reflection of something, not off of a mirror, but off of like glass, so it looked 3D. So kind of like what you see when you're in the like haunted mansion, you know,
Yeah.
in Disneyland. So that kind of thing had been around for a long time, but she was like, how can we add computers into this and like do more with this light and with this like shape of the mirror? And I wrote, she said that because she's a scientist and she's like, how can we bring science into this? So by the way, she also like gets her PhD. She goes to GW and to the University of Delaware. Later, she goes to Simmons College Graduate School of Management. So she has a bunch of degrees. But in the late 1970s, she invents a thing called an illusion transmitter. So the illusion transmitter can send 3D images to different places. So what it does is it like takes a picture of something with that like mirror, getting that 3D image, and then sends that picture to another machine and projects it onto a mirror so you can like send a 3D image other places.
That sounds like Willy Wonka.
Yeah, it is a little bit like the Mike TV.
Yeah.
Yes. The illusion transmitter can. Let me say it again what it does. It takes that 3D image that is created by like a concave or convex mirror. Hold on, let me figure out which one I mean. Convex versus concave. Concave, because concave is rounded inwards. So a concave mirror and something and the reflection shows like a 3D image. So the illusion transmitter can take that 3D image and then bring it to another thing, like Mike TV from Willy Wonka. So like essentially like if you and I were on Zoom right now, but we were 3D is what it can do.
That's fun.
Yeah, super,
Also,
super
a
fun.
spoon is technically concave and con.
Exactly. So if you look at one, maybe if you look at the convex side, you're upside down, and the concave side, you're like in it.
Right.
Go get a spoon, everyone. Pause. We'll wait. So that's super cool. And she received a patent for her illusion transmitter on October 21st, 1980. It's still used today. Like this, the science behind it is used today for all kinds of cool things. So that it's used for 3D organ visualization so that doctors can see an organ and they can see it outside of someone's body and look at it without having to go like without like touching their body parts,
Thank
you know?
God.
Um, they can also plan procedures by looking at someone's body. So like if you're this is stuff that you see on TV where they show you like a 3D image of someone's body when they're getting ready to do something. That's all from the illusion transmitter. It also works for like medicine, like from far away. So like you can for telemedicine, you can see people's entire bodies, see their organs, see things like from you don't have to be with them to be able to do it. It's also used in concerts and events. Like remember when ended up at Coachella?
Oh my God. That was so
Like
cool.
that's
That
from the illusion
company went
transmitter.
bankrupt. That's
I
so
know that's so
sad.
sad.
That's horrible. They did
I
the
feel like
coolest thing in history and they went bankrupt for it.
I am not chill when I'm at concerts. I would have lost my fucking mind.
I would have lost it. Snoop Dogg was on there doing the crip walk with him.
I just like would have lost my mind. I do not think I would have survived.
Same, same. I
Yeah.
would have been down there
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah. They used it so developed by Microsoft. There's a thing called holoportation, which is like hologram meetings. There's that. People use it for like interacting with 3D models, a lot of medical stuff, a lot of data storage and security things. So if you transmit something via a hologram, it takes up less data than other ways somehow. And the example that I got, the it looks like every movie where you see the future, like Minority Report, where your computer is in front of you, but it's clear, and you're like moving your hands in the air. Like that is all possible, and it can be possible because of this invention. Like it's not like fully realized yet,
I
but like
hope
that's what we're
isn't
like
realized because
aiming for.
Minority Report sounds horrible.
Well, I just mean like the
Right. The technology. Got it. Yep.
part.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Um, also, like the military uses it for enhanced situational awareness, so they can like see what's happening in other places, and they can like go around corners and like do things. So it's super, super cool, and definitely like still used today. So those are like her two huge things, but she still has done a ton of stuff at NASA. So Dr. Thomas worked as the associate chief of the Space Science Data Operations Office. Also, she headed the NASA Space Science Data Coordinated Archive, which is essentially in the 80s taking two computer facilities and putting them together, which was like a lot harder than like sharing a Google Drive, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Um, she was when she was there, she was also the Space Physics Analyst Network director from 1986 to 1990. So basically, she helped oversee one of the first computer networks. When she joined that department, they had 100 computers. When she left, 4 years later, they had 2,700 computers. Because it was like that time where like it was happening so fast, and she helped create like the internal network inside of NASA. Um, she retired in 1995, and when she retired, her roles were she was the associate chief of the NASA Space Science Data Operations Office, the manager of the NASA Automated Systems Incident Response Capability, and she was on the Space Science Data Operations Office of Education Committee. So super cool job
Yeah, she had a lot
titles.
going on.
Yeah. Currently she mentors, so she's mentored through the Mathematics, Aerospace Research and Technology program. She mentored students in summer programs at the Goddard Space Flight Center. She also judges science fairs, which made me think of this because like our the people who judged our science fair were like the curator of our local museum and like a science teacher from the high school, which is so cute,
Which
you
is
know?
great.
But she judges like national science fairs. She works with the Women in Science and Engineering program. She's also worked at the UMBC Center for Multicore. I laughed at this. She's associate at the UMBC, which is University of Maryland, Baltimore County Center for Multicore Hybrid Productivity Research. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Taylor, I don't know what like 97% of the titles that you've read out to me mean. So
So cool.
it shows my education.
She's received like several awards. One of them is a Goddard Space Flight Center Award of Merit and the NASA Equal Opportunity Medal. So she did so many cool things. Um, and just to end, a couple of things that you can do to try her science at home is you can do the metal spoon thing. So if you hold the curved side, um, towards you, you'll be upside down. If you flip it back so you're looking at the concave side, you'll still be right side up but smaller. And that's like part of the thing that she did. And then also a lot of the stuff the illusion transmitter, part of it is from like periscopes. So like the idea is similar to a periscope where like a mirror and a mirror, you can like see the thing around the corner. So you can also, if you want to, make yourself a periscope and look around the corner with two mirrors and a cardboard box.
I
Because you're bending
would,
light to create a new image, which is super cool.
out of all the things here, I would be the most interested in hearing her talk about how she found the motivation to do what she did in an environment that was not catered to her,
Hmm.
or yeah, like that's the
Yeah,
thing that's
because
like
this
the
is,
most impressive. Like, I mean,
hmm
being like, here's the thing: if you were culturally instilled with like no limitations,
hmm
it's not that crazy. Like
right.
you would be like, oh, the world's my oyster. I can do whatever I want.
Hmm.
But if you're come up in a world where there are limitations, and you're like, you know what, I'll do what she did and see around the corner with the telescope thing you just mentioned. Like it is that's a compelling piece here, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah, totally. I totally agree. This isn't like, it's only a couple years after like Hidden Figures. Did you see that movie?
No, but
So like,
I know the it was black women at NASA, right?
yeah. Yeah, and like the main character, she's doing calculations like by hand with like all of this paperwork and like Buzz Aldrin is like, I'm not going until she says it's okay. But part of the story is like she's taking her so long to do stuff because when she has to go to the bathroom, she has to run like a half a mile across the campus to get to a bathroom
Yeah,
because the bathrooms are segregated, you know? So it's like not long after the bathrooms are desegregated at NASA that she's there. Even now, I think probably being a woman in NASA would be hard, you know, in any of those like science related industries. So she's incredibly impressive.
yeah, yeah. I should watch that movie.
It's good. I like it.
I think the
It's a see
movie
once movie.
with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Robert De Niro put me off those movies because Robert De Niro playing like a racist Southern
Mm.
general was just like so not believable.
Yeah, you just like feel
I was,
gross.
I was like, this
Yeah.
can't be like this isn't real. I'm sure it is. I'm sure that's exactly what that general was like. It was like wrong casting. Be
Yeah.
better.
Ah, that's funny.
Um, that'd be interesting. I would love to if you ever feel like it. Doing one of Women of NASA would be kind of interesting. Like
Gosh, it would
overall,
be. I mean, we've talked about, you know, some of the women astronauts, you know, because we met a lot of them during the Challenger episode, you know, because it was like brand new that women were even allowed. Because I think in researching the Challenger episode that we did, you know, I was looking at the like the NASA astronaut like class photo, and there's like 1,000 photos of like a bunch of dudes, and like finally there's one girl, you know, like
yeah.
finally there's one black person, and like finally there's one Asian person, but like for the most part they look exactly the same, like you would expect them to, like military guys.
Uh, fun. All right. Well, thanks
Yeah,
for sharing that. And I'm gonna go right after this to my kitchen and grab a spoon
do it.
and experience the joys of
Rachel would be like,
conclave.
"What are you doing?"
Like this feels totally natural for you to just be staring into a spoon for no reason. Do you have anything to read us off with?
I have one, and our dear friend Nadine, who lives in Canada, she said she's excited for you to come to Canada.
I'm very
Um,
excited as well.
and
Curious if I'm gonna get back in the country, but we'll
I
see.
know, a smidge worried, but fingers crossed. Um, she, you know, was talking about how she pictures Virginia Hall like Agent Carter from Marvel, which totally I do as well in our last episode. But also, Nadine has graciously offered to help us with French translations in the past, and I did not reach out to her, but she did reach out to tell me that Croix de Guerre means cross of war. That
Okay.
Virginia Hall won from France, which makes sense
Oh,
to me.
nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
yeah.
pronunciation. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Nadine. Yeah, and if you want to message us, you can message us on Instagram or email at doomtofellpod@gmail.com. And we now have a Patreon, and I'll put it on all of our socials and let you know. And it'd be great if you signed up to help us spread the word. But the word is spreading, and we're really excited that everybody is here. We're getting more listeners, and I got some fun comments on um, TikTok, the Bruiser Brody episode.
Yeah.
I posted about it the other day on TikTok, and a bunch of people were like, "Oh my God, I love it!" And one person was like, "I'm listening to your episode now. I love everything Bruiser Brody." So that was cool.
You know what's funny is we did that so long ago.
Literally, people have been responding because I got the facts wrong in my TikTok. I was like, I don't know. I'm like, it was like 2 years ago.
We did that, so that's so cool that people are getting. No, we are
Yeah,
catching on. Like the episodes are becoming more and more popular, and we really appreciate anybody who's telling their friends and families. And I'm conducting kind of a guerrilla warfare where I'm grabbing people's phones and just subscribing them on the spot,
I
and
love it.
it's working. I think
I love it.
because we
Oh,
can see the uptake.
I made you a t-shirt. Well, it's on the floor because I spilled Diet Coke all over my desk. But I did learn how to make t-shirts this week. So Miles, a soccer coach, let me borrow her press, which is like a big t-shirt making press, like a
Yeah.
really heavy thing.
Yes.
And so for like $70, I went to this place and I got ones to make shirts for all the girls on my team, which was 9 girls on my softball team, me and the other coaches, plus my husband. And then I made a couple Doom to Fill shirts, and I made some other shirts for my podcast that I have not even started yet, just because it was fun. But I made you a Doom to Fill shirt, and I will mail it to you.
That it again, your thoughtfulness never ceases to amaze me.
Thank you.
Like
And
I've
also, if you subscribe to your
whatever.
Patreon, I might buy a t-shirt press. I like mailing people stuff.
I know, I know. I have to ask you how to mail people things from
I
time to
know.
time.
Hmm.
Um, Sweet. Well, thanks for sharing, Taylor. Anything else to lead off with?
No, thank you, Fars. Yeah, talk to you
Enjoy
soon.
your martini.
Thank
I'll
you.
enjoy the inclement
Enjoy your
weather.
sippy cup full of wine.
Thank you. Thank
Good luck
you.
with what did you say, inclement weather?
Yeah, it looks pretty bad out there.
They say that at schools when there's inclement weather they have to like do recess inside. So Florence will look out the window and be like, "It looks like inclement weather." So funny. This is so cute.
Does she want to do recess inside?
No, but it's just so funny that she says inclement weather,
That's so funny.
like a grown up.
Hi, Miles.
So what is that face? You what? You hit your face? Your foot. You hit your foot. Oh, well,
Doing okay though, bud?
he's gonna survive.
He'll survive.
Yeah.
All
He
right.
said I'm dying. All right, bye. Wait. Stop recording. I have to tell you one thing.